Talk Radio's friendly little proletariat uprising. America's first competition talk show. You're in the hub.
You know, there's a new study going on right now that's really, quite frankly, depressing me out of California. And I don't know, honestly, why they really want to add insult to injury. The country is hurting right now, and now you got to open up and tell me that men are a dying breed because we're not reproducing sperm at the level that we should. Our sperm counts are going down overall. They found this study out and they revealed that men on average, the sperm is so weak that most of it's completely useless for any kind of reproductive process. Not all of us can be Michael Phelps doing the backstroke upstream, okay? Some of us just have to, some sperm are greater than others. You don't have to point out the obvious here. It's why we have so many. Jeff? Honestly, this depresses you like it depresses me. I didn't need to hear
all
this.
I can respond to is wiggle room.
Wiggle room? Yeah. This is like, we're doing the back and forth, doing the butterfly. Jeff does the butterfly. Okay, enough's enough. Larry Goss is a professional family man running for Congress in the 4th District of Georgia. We're not going to ask him to jump off this ledge. I'm sure he would.
I'm sorry, I got up on the ledge.
No suicide mission. No suicide mission today. All right. Right now, the National Security Administration for a long time has been charged with protecting the integrity of the nation's infrastructure from terrorists. And if you recall, way back during the Bush era, he got in all kinds of trouble because of the Patriot Act back in 2001, 2002, when this was put in place, which was wiretapping your emails and your phone line and tracing your emails and whatnot if you're a would-be terrorist or suspected of being a terrorist. Well, now the National Security Agency has had a program in place for several years called Private Citizen. And what Private Citizen does is essentially detect cyber assaults on some of the critical infrastructure that's in place around the country. Well, apparently, Private Citizen wasn't enough. Private Citizen is the term itself is just a little too aloof. We need to be a little more involved. And so they've come out with the next step from Private Citizen. It's called Perfect Citizen. Oh, yes. Two can play this game. And Perfect Citizen would detect cyber assaults on private companies as well as just the normal infrastructure models. But the thing about it is what they're going to do with this eavesdropping technology is that it would implant a set of sensors that are deployed into computer networks basically at early stage of the line where you're trying to connect to the other computers. And it would basically determine threats to an electrical grid, to a nuclear power grid, to a lot of the critical infrastructure that we have in the country, because they're saying these kind of threats are becoming more and more real. Now, the contractor that won the classified contract is Raytheon Corporation, and the surveillance efforts is valued up at $100 million. We know this because the classified bid was ratted out by a person familiar with the project. You can always count on the persons familiar with the project to early on declassify classified material. Just ask the person familiar with the project, and because Raytheon's going to deny it, they are. But what do you think about this? I mean, we're in a brave new world here.
It's
Larry?
Big Brother on steroids to me on this. I mean, they're going to be watching everything we do, and it seems to me you could solve this a lot simpler with just disconnecting some of the things that the government's getting involved in. I'm not happy with what they're doing. I didn't like the Bush administration when they did the Patriot Act on some of the aspects of it, and this worries me even more.
Well, they say it would be triggered by unusual activity, Jeff. I don't know what classifies as unusual activity. Every time apparently an SEC employee gets online now, there's unusual activity going on. If you think about the Securities and Exchange
what could be defined as unusual activity? You could be going to look up or through the white pages, look up somebody. I mean, what is that going to do? Send a red flag up? I mean, the Perfect Citizen was or is designed to look at large, typically older computer control systems that were often designed without internet connectivity and security in mind. Okay, but what will this evolve into? Will they be implanting chips into the new smartphones, computers?
That's why
will you be tracked? GPS? My goodness.
Well, I no, and I don't know about that. I was actually talking with somebody about that earlier today. Carleen Kosova is her name. The Aussie, Saucy Aussie is the voice of the GPS. She's GPS girl. She's now got a music career
GPS
starting
girl.
out. Yes. So the GPS girl could be tracking you with this stuff before it's all over. They could turn the tables on you altogether.
They talked about with OnStar.
be a Russian spy.
They were going to use the OnStar to do for miles per hour for interstate, for if you were speeding, they would just track you that way and then issue a ticket.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's technology today that they're talking about, which actually would be tracing your speeding tickets, like you're saying, from a satellite in space, where plot points on a grid on the road that you're on determines how long it should have taken you to get from point A to point B.
Well, they do that
and if you don't, they slap you with a fine.
They do that in Florida via airplanes.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they've been doing that for a while.
No, those are the chemtrails they're spraying out. Wrong plane. But it's pretty easy to assume if it's digital, it's fair game at this point.
Yeah.
And we're moving into a brave new world where they're saying, anything that would be unusual activity classifies here. A perfect citizen, they say, will look at, like you're saying, large, typically older computer control systems that were designed without internet connectivity or security in mind early on. We still have those? I mean, they're saying that some of these are actually running at air traffic control centers. That makes me feel a lot better about flying. A computer the size of my house is now being retrofitted to get up with the current age.
The Commodore 64. Here we go.
I swear. I mean, they're gonna have phones growing out of their ear the size of their head too. I imagine they still have some of those in circulation.
It's just another subliminal response for them to have more control over our lives, and people need to realize the impact this is going to make on each and every citizen in our country. I mean, how much are we going to allow them to watch us? How much? When is it going to stop? Folks, when is it going to stop? We've got to put our feet down and we've got to take control of what's going on, Joel.
Well, yeah, and they've been doing this program. They've been developing this for a long time at very different phases, way back as far as the earlier 2005, 2006, when the April Strawberry, which was the code name for this program, was being first developed. They were talking with CEOs about how they could, in private corporations, implement some of these processes into their infrastructure if they managed infrastructure that was of a critical nature to the country. And the scary thing about this is that they have CEOs coming back to the government saying, we don't know enough to take initiative ourselves. Tell us how to do this. Tell us exactly where you want us to put the bullet to our head, so to speak, our own privacy. Because and the scary thing about this is that you and I both know there are those of you out there, not myself, but some of you watching, that could walk into a micro center and ask a guy just at the retail store how to pull off some of this surveillance, and they could tell you.
Oh, absolutely.
Larry?
The bigger the government, the less freedom you're going to have. And this is, for me, what they're trying to do is just take so much more of our freedom away. They're going to watch everything we do, and I disagree with it.
Yeah.